Scarpins Avenue.
Don't you have anything better to do? I wish that
Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of Sklar Country, the virus edition, aka the Pandy Pods, aka the basement takes, although we're not in the basement again.
No, we're recording this because we just did a couple episodes, live Instagram, IGTV watch parties of
Tiger King episodes 2 and 3. We're going to do another one of those watch parties to watch 2 more episodes on Thursday. We'll let you know the time from the Dumb People Town Instagram page, and that's what we're doing with that. And then we did a wrap-up episode with Daniel Van Kirk.
That will drop in the Dumb People Town feed.
Our co-host from Dumb People Town. And so today's episode comes from here because we were all set up to do it. We got lots of computers and lots of cords. Computers and cords, just clap your hands, just clap your hands.
Yep.
Where it's at. Hey, we are so happy to be here and happy to be giving you at least a half hour of your day that you can just enjoy and breathe and not think about charts and death tolls and other stuff like that.
We know the news is grim.
There's plenty of time to think about all that other stuff. But right now, we're going to try and make you laugh a little bit and have a little bit of fun because we can control that. That is one thing that we can control, how we feel in these moments. And I know after listening back to these episodes, they actually make me happy, and we did them.
And part of that is our own narcissism.
I would say a lot of that
is just loving hearing our own voices.
Just straight narcissism.
But let's get into some stuff that's been happening in the world of Corona that we feel like might give you a bit of a laugh.
Yeah. So the USNS, or I don't even know, the USS Comfort came in, which is a hospital ship that the Navy brought into the New York harbor so that they can provide hospital beds for, if I'm correct,
right,
people who aren't coronavirus patients. They're going to take all those people on the ship,
right,
because that ship has not been contaminated with corona, and this is a way to treat people who should be in the hospital for other things.
Right.
And I think it's a very smart thing, and I'm glad it finally came up, even though it was promised that it would be up weeks ago. It's up right now, so good thing that it's there. But then I read this story, and I had to double check that it was it wasn't
a real story. And
I thought it was an Onion story.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's some great Onion stories out there. The best of which that I read was the story of how, the death toll is rising, but it's allowing certain women and people, one woman to organize her Tupperware cabinet, and she's really happy about that.
Finally gave her the push she needed.
She needed to organize that Tupperware. And look, I know how difficult that can be. I have a Tupperware cabinet that is essentially at this point out of control. It started in one cabinet, and then it moved to all the other cabinets, and I can't stop. I can't contain where the Tupperware is.
All right, so let's get into what happened. So
then I realized it was the New York Post, and I was just like,
barely better than the Onion.
Well, if you've ever read the New York Post, they try and be funny, but they're painfully not. So you know right away that this isn't an Onion article.
Right. When it's not funny.
It'd be a Punyon article if it was the New York Post.
Okay.
So apparently the USNS Comfort comes into port, and a huge crowd of people gathers to see it. Like,
why?
Packed in, dummies.
You're in New York.
By the way, this isn't 1920. Didn't Mulaney have a great bit about going to see a ship come in? Like, that's what people did back in the day in the years before the internet.
What was Kevin Meaney's thing about real imported
cheesecake? Real New York
cheesecake that was imported to a restaurant that he liked.
Yeah. And then they come down to the docks. Cheesecake boats coming, we'll party tonight. Highly recommend you go looking at that bit. It'll make you laugh. Kevin Meaney, R.I.P. Love you, buddy.
Yes, if you want a comedy recommendation, watch Kevin Meaney stand up. First of all, watch the documentary When Stand Up Stood Out, which is a documentary about the Boston comedy scene in the 1980s.
Of which he was a huge part. He was kind of the godfather of that scene, and really in that scene, and Barry Crimmins too, but fantastic.
When Kevin Meaney leaves the stage, goes outside, I think it was for like a TV show,
and then gets on a bus
and starts interviewing people. He is on fire.
It is
huge influence for us in our lives.
So anyway, the last time people gathered on the docks to watch a ship either come in or go back out was the Titanic, and we know how that finished up.
Yeah, that was
so. Don't do it. Like, now's not the time to. Why is that an important thing? I know we don't have sports. Just why is that a thing that people are doing at this point?
Don't go out and see a ship. How hard is that?
Do you remember, Jay, like whenever we were in New York and there would be just a line coming out of we'd be going down and we were like downtown in Soho.
People would just get into the line because they're like, what is this?
I guess I should be standing in this.
Are they giving stuff away?
Maybe that's what happened. Just people in their own DNA can't stop themselves from saying, hey, what's that coming in here? What's that?
It's a floating hospital. How exciting.
It's a giant, chubby, floating nurse coming down the street, coming down the old Hudson.
Look, we don't want crowds of people to get together and listen to this podcast, even though we'd love millions of people to listen to this podcast.
So
do it alone. Do it alone in your house, in your cubicle. Do it like that.
If all these people get sick with corona, you're going to have to send another ship. And when that ship comes in, don't go out and see it.
So crowds of gawkers came out in New York to watch the hospital roll up on the ocean, on the East River.
Again, they looked at it. It was on the west side.
Shoulder to shoulder.
It was on the west side of Manhattan.
So the Hudson River.
Right.
So they stood shoulder to shoulder
on Pier 90 on West 50th Street at about 10:40 a.m. during the day to take photos of that scene.
Remember
when are you going to show that photo? And who are you going to show that photo to?
Who's going to look at that photo and be like, ooh, I'm glad. Yours is so much better than the New York Times photo of this.
Than the news. I really appreciate you showing me that photo of a hospital ship coming in. If you have a friend that wants to show you a photo of a hospital ship coming in, stop being friends with that person.
Yeah.
Because even if they haven't done anything up to that point,
if they think that's important or something you would care about, their error in judgment is so great as a human being, they need to be stopped.
What are you going to say? Thank you for this
blurry,
far away photo of a hospital ship. You provided an insight into this ship coming in that I would not have normally seen. Thank God I got your photo. Thanks for posting that on Facebook.
And then weren't there people draped in American flag? Like, this is not a moment for patriotism.
Yep.
This is not that moment.
Oh, by the way, joggers, and you know how I feel about joggers. I talked about it. Hit the streets. Don't get off the jogging path and hit the streets. If you're jogging, get out in the street. You need to be sweating on people. They had to rub up against this huge throng of people coming in to watch this like this ship had just come back from war. It's going to war.
Jesus.
And that's what happened.
It just feels to me like we can't. A month is too long for us to be sensible.
Well, so let me say this, so
right? Isn't that what that feels like to you?
People were waving. Who's that for?
The boat?
Is that for the captain of the boat? Is he going to be like, I'm not pulling this thing in and helping people out unless I see 500 people waving. I'm not coming in. I see 400. I don't see 500, and then I'm going to move in.
He did it. I made the honk the horn sign, and he did it.
So this is the deal with this.
Is that worth it?
So Jay and I lived in New York from 1994 to 1999. What we realized living there is that you were never home in your apartment. And we had a great apartment in Chelsea. We had a 3-bedroom apartment in Chelsea.
It wasn't big.
It wasn't big, 19th between 7th and 8th. And we were never there. Why? Because you didn't want to be home, and no one we knew wanted to be home. You were out. There's a reason that's a city that never sleeps, because people don't want to go home.
What we realized is that restaurants and bars were the kitchens and living rooms of your apartments. That's how small people's apartments were.
That's right.
And that's why people get out and experience New York City.
And also, you're too close to people. Otherwise, when you are at home, you're interacting with people that you don't want to interact with on a regular basis. Jay, remember we had in our living room, we had a rolling desk chair that was at the desk. Okay. And yeah, you sat in it and it rolled a little bit when you sat in it, but it wasn't crazy. We had hardwood floors, but every time, and we were right above the super of the building. Who always, I am convinced, I never didn't see him in a wife beater tucked into dress pants and flip-flops. That was what he wore the entire time, and different versions of it.
And let it be known that we did not roll on this floor.
We rolled a little bit.
Rolled.
But he would stop us every time he saw us. Every time you just didn't want to come in contact with him, because he would just be like, "What are you doing up there? Roll,
Why you always roll. You always roll.
Like we were in the chair, not walking around, but rolling to the bathroom together, rolling to the kitchen, rolling to our rooms together.
In his defense, we did learn how to rollerblade in that apartment.
Roll. So like you didn't want to be home with those people. You just want to be out. So that's why I fear that things like what happened with the boat are going to happen many times because New Yorkers don't want to be at home. They want to figure out reasons that they can be out because their homes are too small. You screwed up. You lived in New York during this time of a pandemic and you're housebound and now you're in trouble. Because New Yorkers are the masters, and we were the same way of like figuring out ways to make New York like your living room, like you said.
Right.
That's it. Central Park is my living room. You can't go there now. That's a hospital. You can't walk this way. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't go see a boat. It's going to be hard for them.
Guess you can walk down the middle of the street around your block a few times. But
roll.
Just walking, dude. We got rid of that chair. Too much. Like, don't go see a boat and wave. It's not worth it.
It really
is not worth you getting sick.
That to me was like, okay, there's some dumb people out there, and this disease is going to find them. This disease is getting smart people and getting good people, and that actually really upsets me. It's going to find these dumb people.
Yep.
All the dumb people who are like, it's not coming to our town. It's coming to your town. Just be smart.
There's only 2 cases in our state. Nope. There's more.
It's coming to your state.
There's more.
Just be smart about it. Don't go out and see the ship. Like those who are going out to see the ship, this is it.
That ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed. I hope that was worth it for you. Jeez. Should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Take a break. We come back. We got great stories to go through. And as we head to the break right now, again, we all really like to offer up our suggestions of podcasts. We told you about Dan Van Kirk's podcast,
The Good Night Show.
Fantastic. Here's another one that we want to tell you about. Our friends, 3 guys. Great.
This show is making me happy and getting me through a lot of awesome hikes. I listen to the show on hikes, and I do say... I do have to like grab my side because I'm laughing so hard.
I've laughed so hard listening to this. Go back in the old catalog and listen to all of them. It's called the Grawlix Saves the World. It's our friends Adam Caton-Holland, Andrew Orvidal, and Ben Roy, the 3 guys who were in The Stars of Those Who Can't, the show that we were on True TV where we played the Dr. Screen. They were teachers. And they are so funny. Comedians who out of Denver.
They
great
have such a fun
scene.
podcast. The podcast is, the idea is this. Each week they try and do something to better themselves as people.
Right.
To try and make themselves better people. And it's a challenge that they take on, like stopping doing social media and working on the way they speak so they don't say like and as they're talking. All kinds of great things that they try to enforce within their lives and within this podcast.
And they're so funny with each other that you have to listen to this. As we are all trying to better ourselves, even in this time of quarantine right now, you got to listen to them. They send us a message. So we're going to play that message, and then we're going to head out to break. And when we come back, more stories right here on Scarborough Country, the virus edition. See you guys on the other side.
Hey, Sklar brothers. It's the Grawlix Saves the World, boys. You got me, Adam Caton-Holland. Say hello, everybody.
Hey. Hi, guys.
I'm here with Ben and Andrew. We are all sheltered in place, hunkered down, flattening the curve, being responsible.
In beautiful Denver, Colorado.
Trying to endure this thing as best we can. I had a fun experience yesterday, guys. I thought you'd like to hear about it. My 7-year-old niece and my 5-year-old nephew walked over. They live nearby. They stood on the sidewalk. I came out to the porch. We kept appropriate social distance. Had my little boy in my arms. We're just chatting, visiting, and a pretty clearly mentally unwell transient fella walked down the street towards us. He had a clipboard, I could see it, full of drawings of triangles and pyramids. And we're like, okay, this guy's fucking nuts. And he proceeded to sort of just bother my niece and nephew and kind of talk to them and talk to me. And normally when you experience those things, you're kind of like, all right, let's just get through this and say, good luck, buddy. Give him a few bucks, whatever. But I'm nervous as everyone else is. So I just said in the middle of it, he's standing next to a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. I was like, hey, buddy, we're trying to observe social distancing. If you could get 6 feet away from my niece and nephew, I'd appreciate that. And he fucking snapped and started yelling at me about he just came out of the hospital, and he goes, I'm not gonna say anything because there's kids around. But then he decided, no, I am. He goes, fuck you, talking shit, fuck you. And I go, come on, man. And he goes, you got the virus. And I go, oh no. He goes, I can tell you got the virus and you're gonna die. and then he walked off. So
Oh my God.
So my
Denver
5-year-old
does have tests. You know, they
Yeah.
said we didn't, but we do have the test. As it
is
turns
that
out.
is that the test? Was I
Yeah,
able to get one?
that's the test that the White House has been deploying. They're basically,
Oh.
they're telling transient people to go out and just size them up, give them what your best
Oh.
thoughts. You know what I mean? Do an
And so
overall on-site fitness evaluation.
Oh shit! Well, I guess I'm in for 2 weeks, dudes.
That's a positive, but I'm sorry to hear that.
All right. I'm keeping it inside. Good to know. Good to know.
Oh my God.
Strange times, man. The end times.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Well, that didn't happen, so pretty good, I guess.
The point is to just try to enjoy each day and see the beauty in life as we endure these strange and historic times. Other than that, I'm all good. Ben, Andrew, we're all good. We hope to see you guys under more normal circumstances. sometime.
Also more snormal.
More normal. That's the first sign. You start throwing S's in front of N's. All right, Sklar Bros. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope that you receive your Trump test via transient man soon. And we'll talk to you dudes soon. Love ya.
Later.
Bye.
Horny for the game. First they kiss, then they bite off. Then they wanna play it off.
All right, guys, welcome back. Thank you for rate and review this if you haven't subscribed to this on iTunes if you can, because that just keeps us up in the old mix up there, and that's a good thing. So please, and tell people about it too. If you're like, people are like, what are you doing? What are you listening to? Tell a couple of friends about it and see if we can't spread the word grassroots style.
LA Magazine, thank you to LA Magazine for mentioning us as one of the podcasts you should listen to help you get through this. We want to remind people also, we're trying to do our part in gathering our content that we've created for you that lives on YouTube, and we're going to create a Sklar Brothers landing page that is currently being worked on right now.
Yep.
It may come out by the end of this week or next week.
We'll let you know about it, and you can subscribe to that too. All these things really help us out, and it's free for you to do so. You just get to subscribe, and all that good stuff comes your way. So with everything being shut down, at least some professions continue, okay? Podcasting is one of them.
Yeah.
Therapy, you can do therapy via Skype. National news is still happening. Cat burgling,
Hey, dog.
still going on. Cat burgling.
now.
You can still burgle
Yes.
in a cat-like way if you need to. That's
Cats are still at it, is what you're saying.
yeah, cats are still doing. That's a high level one too, but they're still at it and actually not taking a break. Now is the time that they're feeling like taking advantage of galleries and museums being shut down to get in there and make that
I know
steal.
this story. I know this story, and I know what happened. And
On Monday, which is just yesterday when we're recording this, but it'll drop tomorrow, a Dutch museum announced that a painting by Vincent van Gogh went
VVG.
VVG.
the DVK of his time.
The VVG. So Vincent van Gogh has never been called VVG. We need to call him VVG. Was missing after thieves broke into the building in an early morning raid. Lentetuin, painted by, did I do that wrong? Lentetuin. Lentetuin? I don't know. Painted by Van Gogh.
Spring of 1884.
Was on loan. That's the worst. When your friend's like, hey man, will you watch my, can you watch my
Cat for the week, and you're
can you watch my bike? And then it gets stolen out of your garage.
On your watch.
This is the worst. This is why you don't. Someone's like, hey man, can you watch this super valuable thing? I'm like, I can't. I can't
literally
do that
can't do that.
because I
I'm
can't
sorry.
handle if it gets taken. So that's
Because it will get taken.
the Dutch Museum should have been like, nah, man, I want to, but it's not really a good idea.
So cool that you thought of us.
The Singer-Laren Museum, which closed its doors earlier this month due to risks of COVID-19. Thank you for taking the correct precautions there. This is what the museum director, Jan Rudolph Delorme, a live streamed a press statement. This is what he said. And I love that this is what was said. This is the quote. I'm shocked and incredibly pissed off. More museums need to use that language. Get emotional, guy. This is Van Gogh.
I'm going to break my foot off in someone's ass, is what a museum curator should be saying.
This beautiful and moving painting by one of our greatest painters, stolen, taken from the community. You should be shocked at that, right?
Yeah, he should be shocked.
Well, he should be shocked that he still has a job
Yeah.
in this pandemic.
Yes,
That's for one. Right. I'm guessing that he forgot to turn on the alarm.
Or
You know what I
maybe he
mean?
left it on away instead of stay.
Hey, listen, why don't you lock the really expensive stuff in vaults?
Yeah.
Is that a good idea?
It's not like people need to see him right now.
Vault it up.
Vault it up, bro.
The Dutch language I'm going to get this wrong. Laatst Nieuws report. The Het Laatst Nieuws
Yes.
reports that the thieves entered the museum through a glass door by force. They set off the alarm. Okay, so we did set the alarm. Fine. Sending police on the scene. Officers, however, were unable to find the perpetrators. Really? There's no camera on there whatsoever?
No, so they could see who they were, but they weren't able to catch them is what they're saying.
Why would there be any No, like, why is it that everywhere in a Costco, everybody's Ring door goes off? Like, you
Right.
just hear on everyone, ring on everyone's phone while they're shopping, and you can't get a Ring door on this thing? Get it. Send it to the police. Figure it out, man. Why can't the Dutch Museum have the same technology?
A stolen Van Gogh, though, that to me is like the balls on you to do that right now.
What do you do with the stolen Van Gogh? Let's think about it on the other side. What do you do? You stole a Van Gogh.
All right, you got
All
it.
right, you stole a Van Gogh. Now what do you do?
The second you got to sell it to another corrupt person who wants it
You
in
gotta
their
sell it
house.
to the mafia.
You gotta sell it
Who's going to put it in their basement kitchen?
right? Basement kitchen and be like, I just want it down here. No one's going to know.
Or you cut a little corner off of the picture and you mail it back to the Dutch Museum.
Cut the
Say,
ear
I-
off.
Say, I love you, Dutch
Cut the
Museum.
ear off
Cut
and
the-
just cut the ear
corner
off.
and send it back.
Boom. Mail it.
Because the problem is you then have to vet out the people that know that you stole the painting. You're going to want to tell people that you have a Van Gogh. Why steal it if you didn't steal the Van Gogh? Steal another painting.
Right.
If it's not a Van Gogh. If it's a Van Gogh, you want to be like, hey, dude, look at this Van Gogh.
Look what I got.
You hang it up in your bathroom and be like, go take a leak. Guy goes in there and it's like, what'd you see in there? I don't know. You have enough toilet paper? No,
No,
look above the toilet,
look on
dummy.
the ceiling.
Look on the ceiling. What do you got? Van Gogh up there.
Which,
Right?
Steam that out.
That'd be unbelievable. But you gotta vet the people you're telling about it, because someone
It only takes one person.
you don't know who's gonna tell somebody else, and then it gets spread around to everybody else, just like COVID-19.
It is. You got to be so careful, and then you're done.
All right.
Seems like too risky of a game. Post the steal.
Art
too much
theft
anxiety.
to me is just too high profile.
Yeah.
It's just too high profile. It's like stealing Patty Hearst. You know, unless you're gonna brainwash her, you just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now if you're gonna try and get away from the virus that may be infecting your large urban area,
And some people are doing this.
I'm gonna give you some advice. Don't go to the Yukon.
So here's my thing. I sometimes get confused. What is the Yukon
And the Yucatan.
And the Yucatan
Well, the Yucatan Peninsula
is down in Mexico. Or
Why don't
down
you look
in,
it up. Look up what the Yucatan.
is-
The Yukon is north. It's near like
the
it's
Arctic
like
Circle.
Canada, right? It's in the Arctic up there. The Yucatan Peninsula, I want to say, is in like South America.
No,
right?
it's in
Mexico.
Yeah. Yucatan Peninsula is, let me see.
Okay,
Images of where it is.
I'm just going to say this, and then you can come back to me with it. You got it. All right.
Yucatan Peninsula is Mexico at the very bottom, that thing that wraps up.
It goes to Panama.
Well, no, sort of like Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, in that general area.
Yeah. When it like kind of connects to Central America.
This is how dumb we are.
Well, look, we're learning something. So what's wrong with that?
Yukon is a car made by Chevy.
So don't go to the Yukon, and here's a story that is basically as close to Wild Wild Country as you can, all right? Yes. Just the way the town reacted. Remember in Wild Wild Country when you're like, oh, these are just a bunch of...
Racists.
Yeah, hicks that are just doing that stuff. All right. Old Crow is either a whiskey that you shouldn't drink, that only your weird uncle drinks, or it's the northernmost community in the Yukon. So this is the northernmost community.
So the
in
Yukon is the territory. The Yukon territory
Yeah.
in Canada is
Right.
the territory that borders Alaska and Canada, goes
Way
all
up
the way
there.
up to the top.
And that's by the Arctic up there. So the northernmost community up there, 250 people, is seething, Jay,
Seething.
after two uninvited guests showed up in spite of warnings not to come. Around 10 a.m. on last Friday, an Air North, that's just what they're calling it. Just
That's
head
the
that
airline?
way. Air North, head up that way.
Air North, bro.
Air North flight brought two Quebecers to the Arctic community. Quote, we were busy dealing with a life-altering pandemic, and this couple just strolls off the plane like cartoon characters.
I don't think that's what they meant
Said
to
the
say.
chief of the Vuntut Witchin First Nation, Dana Teasia Tram. Okay, what cartoon characters were they, Jay? Goofy and Daffy?
I don't know.
Sneezy and Coffee? Pandy and Demick?
Yes, maybe.
So small town folk don't want to be seeing no big city mice up in this place.
Not in these moments.
And the couple told this person,
probably in
Teasia
French,
Tram, that they were trying to escape the pandemic. He said,
"Get out of our kitchen."
They sold everything they owned, drove 5,000 plus kilometers from Quebec to Whitehorse, and then boarded a plane to Old Crow. Vice was not able to reach the pair for comment, of course. Chief, this is like a community up here. Chief Teasia Tram said the couple couldn't be older than 35. You can always ask them how old they are. You don't have to. This isn't like a tree we're trying to figure out how old it is.
Couldn't be older than 35 years old. And they're, look, I get this. This is the thing. Like, everyone's like, I'm going to move to Canada if I don't like how these
They don't want you
results.
there. They don't want you there. Old Crow is a fly-in, self-governing community 80 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle.
But you got to think then, why don't they want them up there? Because they're like
They're
eating
doing something.
babies.
They're making...
Look, we say this about, what are they doing up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin? That's at the northern part of Wisconsin. No one knows what they're doing up there. What are they doing up there?
Home to just 250 people. Like many remote and northern communities, Old Crow has asked people not to come.
Please do not come.
We don't want you here. Don't come from another city because you could infect everybody because they don't have a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have doctors. You know, what's this? The northern exposure isn't that guy is not up there.
Mm-hmm.
The Yukon government, meanwhile, has just declared a state of emergency and requires any visitors in the territory to self-isolate for 14 days upon arrival.
Yes.
The couple apparently had not done so.
What are you doing?
The couple told Teasia Tram that they had decided on Old Crow after one of them had a dream pointing them up there. You can't do this.
No. We don't care about your dreams. They will kill you and then eat you up there.
They will be, if they get tested and come out okay, this is a community of 250 people. So even if you move up there and you're fine, people are going to hate you. You think you're going to have friends up there?
Good luck getting eggs at the diner, you assholes.
Right? They will be treated like they're coming up and trying to start a sex cult. You know that's happening.
Yes.
He literally dreamt this up.
He dreamt it up.
Yeah, that's what acting on a dream is. He dreamt it, and his lady was dumb enough to follow him up there.
Good God.
The dream was cut short when the pair was met at the airport by Paul Josie, Old Crow's emergency management coordinator. I love that they have enough people for that.
No, it's just one guy. He's managing the whole thing. He's like, get out of here. Go. Get.
Josie has been meeting every plane that arrives to distribute information on the virus and intercepted this couple as they were getting off the plane. They thought they could come to Old Crow and find a job and a place to live. And then I imagine that he just turned to the left and then cackled and then spit. That's what I think. And just blend in, right?
Nope.
Well, that's what happened in his dream is what I'm saying. Couple was escorted to the local co-op store, which has 2 small apartments that it rents out to healthcare workers, mechanics, other visiting staff, and hookers. What? No kidding.
No.
The RCMP gave the Royal Canadian Mounted Police gave the 2 visitors strict instructions not to leave. I'm sure they'll listen to that.
Yeah.
Unless the guy has a dream that he should leave at that point.
And then he's gone.
There's no stopping him after he dreamt it up. And put them on the next flight of the Old Crow to Whitehorse Saturday without going through the airport. So they're just literally walk them on the plane and go.
And then just walk them out.
It's a human catch and release of sorts.
Right.
All right. You just throw back the couple from Quebec.
Yeah, throw them back to where they came
There's
from.
other fish out in that sea. Is what.
Or stop in Whitehorse and make it there for a few months. And then you can go to Old Crow. Jeez.
When you stepped off the plane, you stepped into Vun Tut Gwich'in territory. You're now on our land, he recalled telling the couple. We control the housing.
This is the beginning of racism.
That's it.
Like anything he says after that is going to be racist.
He said the couple plans to live off the land, but had no notion of what that actually entitled in the Arctic. And this is my favorite quote of the whole thing. Living on the land up here is dangerous. It's not like you wake up in the morning and birds dress you.
Who said that?
Yeah.
Who was like, wait, so we're just going to go, honey.
It's cold. It's
honey,
dangerous.
look, we're just going to go up there. We're never going to have to put our clothes on again.
The birds will dress us.
Birds will dress us.
It's cold. It's dangerous. You have to track and hunt animals. Our community is not some COVID-19 heaven. That's what he said. Air North. You should have known better.
And then he said, get out of here, Jew.
Then why would he say that?
They aren't even Jewish, but that felt
that
felt a little bit strong.
That's what it is.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. So you can't rush to, if you think you're in a big city and you think you're going to go to a small town, don't do it. It's not going to happen.
Don't pick up your life We always say this: don't quit a job until you know you have another job.
That's right.
Don't leave one location until you know you can land in the next location.
Don't rile them up.
Don't rile them up. Go downsize. You can't. This is like when you're on the freeway. We found this out when Randy and I were driving a stick shift car, which we had never driven stick shift before. And
Drove
I learned
across
in a week.
country for Toyota, the MR2 Spider convertible.
We drove across the 10 and then up the 95 or whatever. It was up to New York. 10 all the way across the country, from LA all the way to Jacksonville,
There
Florida.
was a point where I didn't know what I was doing, and I downshifted from 5 to 1 on the highway. in
Fifth gear
Phoenix.
down to first gear.
The car made a noise like I had stepped on a puppy.
Right.
It was terrible.
You can't do that in a stick shift car. You cannot do that in life. You cannot go from a fifth gear city
Down to
first
first
gear
gear.
without hitting a couple gears along the way.
That's right.
So you want to leave Quebec? You want to leave Quebec City?
You got to go to a small. You
Go
maybe
to Saskatoon for a while.
Maybe go to Kitchener, then Saskatoon, and then you make your way up there. You got to downshift gears before you make your way up.
In the name of Gordon Lightfoot.
The name of Gordon Sundown. We invoked Gordon Lightfoot last time, which I read the whole
Sundown.
thing about Sundown. Did you hear that?
So Sundown, this is crazy. I didn't know this.
Our friend
Sundown-
Jimmy Acho just told us this,
So-
and then we'll get out of here on this.
All right. So this is our little piece of information for you that we can add to you. Sundown, You Better Take Care. We'll go out on this song.
Yeah.
Sundown, You Better Take Care, which is a song that Gordon Lightfoot.
If I catch you creeping around my backstairs. So Gordon Lightfoot was in love with this woman named Kathy Smith, who was a groupie. She got
slept with like the Rolling Stones. She
Levon Helm and the band. She like participated in stuff with the band.
was
met
a
them at
beautiful
Toronto.
woman, but a crazy woman and very clingy. And she would like, apparently the
Stalkery.
the knock on her was that once she got in your life, she wouldn't get out. Gordon Lightfoot hooks up with her, and she breaks up
His marriage, and it was the most expensive divorce in Canadian history.
I think it's still in the top 5, top 10.
Top 10.
And then
She was actually became a drug dealer in LA, and she's the one who injected John Belushi with 11 speedballs.
gave him too many speedballs.
And then he died. She was there that night and then not even questioned.
And no. So then she was driving out, and she was driving the one way down the wrong way.
Yep.
Out of Chateau Marmont, and they pulled her over, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then they figured it out that she was with him, and so crazy. The woman who killed John Belushi, essentially. She didn't make him take it, but she pretty damn well came close.
Is who the song Sundown was about.
There you go.
There you
Little
go.
piece of history.
Little piece.
Please take care of yourselves. We love doing this. We'll continue to do this for you because we are narcissists.
Yeah.
We need to hear the sounds of our own voices.
Nope. We hope you enjoy this, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Pod. It's Scarborough Country, the virus edition.
Punch a water faucet, then wash your hands.
That's how we do it. We'll see you tomorrow.